Hi, my name is Matt Hines and I'm the principal at Eastern Elementary in Beaver, Ohio in Pike County.
Hi, I'm Chris Adkins. I'm the Library Media Specialist at Eastern Local Schools, and we're here to talk about a grant-funded program. It was funded through the Federal Institute of Museum and Library Services, LSTA grant. And the grant was really a godsend because we never would have been able to afford this program had it not been for that. With the Ohio mandated Science of Reading program, this Decodables lab that we've put into our library has been extremely helpful, and the teachers love it, and it's been a great resource for them to use while teaching the science of reading.
So with the lab we have here in the library, we have it all organized through our foundational skills that we use. Our teachers are trained in Orton Gillingham, and we arranged it in the way that their concept map or their scope and sequence is arranged so that teachers can come down here and they can grab one of the boxes of books like we have here for the specific skill that they are working on. And they can take this back to the room, and the students can practice working on the skill that they've been working on. So it's not just being taught in isolation. So they can teach it in isolation, and then they can have guided practice from the teacher of reading the book and practicing that skill throughout the book. And these are really nice because they are real books. Before we had these, we were doing a lot of copying of paper and folding it up in half to make it look like a book. And that's what we were using for our decodable readers. So this has been a major improvement over what we have for our students and our staff. They are very, very thankful for it, and we really appreciate the opportunity to receive this grant, and we have used it to its full potential, in my opinion, so that it can benefit our students from learning.
Each of the baskets that we've designed, as Mr. Hines said, it is designed by the scope and sequence of Orton Gillingham, but you could design it by whatever scope and sequence your school uses. On the front, we have the concept that a teacher would be working on at any time. Like this one is second grade concept number 60, Bossy R. And then in this basket, these are all books that are dealing with this concept. Each concept has at least 4 or 5 books, so you can work on them with small groups within the classroom, or an intervention specialist. We set up this section in the library, can bring students down here and work in small groups. We have these dry erase tables. And all of the books are based on that concept. And we have, in this particular basket, we have 5 different groups of 5 books. These happen to be from IMLS, which is Orton Gillingham. And all of the books, they're very nice books. But once you've taught a concept in the classroom, then you can use this basket to break your students out into groups, and then they can they get extra practice and extra work on that concept, because we've already done the work, and we've already divided the books into those concepts, and they're in a basket. The teachers just check out a basket because they're working on that concept, and they have all of that stuff together. And then when they're finished with that concept, they just bring the basket back to the library and we check it back in.
I think that's part of the reason the teachers have been so apt to use these, is because you've done a lot of the work for them.
Yeah, it took a lot of work.
Yeah, she worked on it for several months, but once we got it operational, everybody's like, wow, now we see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And makes it really easy. They can just come down, I'm working on this week, and pick up one of the boxes, check it out, and take it back to the room. Right. Which has been great.
Right. And it's giving them those supplemental supplies that they might not necessarily have. And we did put together some rolling carts that the teachers could, with some initial supplies, grade level supplies, that they could take to their rooms and keep. But the beauty of this lab in the library is that if you have students who are gifted and need some extra enrichment, then you can come down and get a basket that's above grade level and check it out. Or if you have some students who need some extra practice in some lower skills, you can check out a basket that's a lower level and give those students some extra practice. And if you were just in a classroom with your own grade level items, you wouldn't have that availability, and that's the beauty of this lab in the library, where you can come and check out those materials you need, and you have access to those materials that you need. And without this grant, we wouldn't have been able to get
And I think it's really good for all of our students. As she mentioned, some that may be ahead and some that may be a little bit behind, because these are real books and real materials. You're not giving something that's going to, they're going to have to be working with that may not look like what Johnny or Susie have at the table next to them. So, that helps out. And kids do notice those things, especially as they get older.
Well, and they're used to working in small groups.
That's right.
Because they're all working with this anyway. So if you have a small group of kids who are working at a lower level, they're not going to think anything of it, because they're all working in small groups with different books.
Yeah.
So it's not going to seem out of place if they're working with books that aren't the same as their books. So it's really been great for us. Our reading scores have gone up significantly. Our circulation in the library has gone up significantly, not just in the Decodables lab, but also in the rest of the library. It's been...
You sent an email earlier and you called it a renaissance of learning.
A renaissance of reading. A reading renaissance of learning, yes, a reading renaissance, because the kids are so excited about reading now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the excitement around the science of reading and these extra materials.
Quality materials.
Quality materials, availability of materials for the teachers. When we first started with this Decodables lab, Mr. Hines and I did our best to explain how it would work, but you kind of got that look from the teachers like, what? And then one second grade teacher used it, and she sent me the most beautiful email about how wonderful this was and what an asset this was going to be in her classroom. And she's a member of our district leadership team, so she kind of took it on herself to word of mouth everything around to the other teachers, and then it just took off. And I was always so happy when I walked in the library and I saw blank spaces in the baskets, and I knew that they were being checked out and being used. And it just kept on all year. I would see more and more blank spaces where the baskets were being checked out. And it just made me smile and made me happy when I saw the blank spaces, and teachers would bring them back and check out another one, and they'd check out two, or they'd bring one back and just immediately check out another one, and it made me extremely happy. And again, I say, without the IMLS or federal IMLS LSTA grant, we never would have been able to put this in. So we are so appreciative of that program.
And I think it helps too, the particular teacher she mentioned, she's on our district leadership team, Vatty, and she's well respected by all of our staff members. When they saw her using it and she spread the word, people listened, and then it just really took off after that. So yeah, we're grateful for her, but like I said, we're very grateful for the opportunity we received for this grant, and we greatly appreciate it.